What's up everyone, this is Tony with Journey Crypto. Welcome to another crypto news video. Today I have some huge news on Bitcoin, XRP, and some other cryptos and news towards mass adoption in general. Before we get started, we are starting to see green in the crypto space again after the big drop recently. Bitcoin is losing dominance. We're seeing Ethereum and XRP recover faster than Bitcoin now. Real quick, Bitcoin dominance is around 64% when it was around 70% only a few months ago. So it is dropping while Ethereum dominance is rising. And I think that trend will continue throughout 2020 with Ethereum staking launching and DeFi Ethereum being locked away. So tons of Ethereum being taken out of circulation is definitely going to make the price rise. So onto the Ripple XRP news. Ripple just announced this partnership with Azimo. Today, Ripple is thrilled to announce their partnership with Europe digital money transfer service Azimo. The company has launched with Ripple's on-demand liquidity (ODL) service as part of its remittance capabilities into the Philippines, with plans to expand use of ODL across more corridors this year. ODL leverages the digital asset XRP to bridge two currencies within seconds, ensuring payments are quickly sent and received in local currency on either side of transaction. In addition, ODL has the potential to reduce liquidity costs by up to 60% compared to traditional banking solutions, guaranteeing some of the most competitive FX rates available. That's huge that XRP is finally being used for cross-border payments in this way. On-demand liquidity is going to be huge for XRP and the price rise of XRP in the future. So this is just for Philippines at the time, but they will release this to more quarters and countries in 2020 and beyond. According to the World Bank, the Philippines are the fourth largest recipient of remittances from migrant workers, averaging 34 billion remittance flows in 2018. Through this partnership, Azimo is seizing the opportunity to provide remitters with a better solution to send money into this region. So that's huge, especially for people that are not making much money per hour and they're sending money cross-border payments. 60% savings is massive for them. And anyone else would of course want to save, and the transaction is nearly instant compared to the multiple day wait in the past. So Ripple also posted this partnership on Twitter with Azimo. Azimo CEO said Ripple's ODL solution has significantly reduced the cost and delivery time for cross-border transfers, and our customers are already seeing the benefits. That's huge for Philippines because minimum wage there is pretty low, so any savings they can get is great. Up to 60% savings. They will start rolling this out throughout the rest of the world, and traditional banking solutions will have to compete and use Ripple or a different solution similar using cryptocurrency even to compete with this. So now that it's getting started, competitors will have to compete, so this is a great thing to see. Also, SparkPoint, they're the biggest cryptocurrency from the Philippines right now. They've been live for about a year, and they're working on gaming apps and other solutions. They're also trying to work on payment solutions for the Philippines and the rest of the world as well. They have their own wallet now. So they posted meeting with Union Bank representative. They had this meeting a couple months ago, and they're working on a partnership. It says here, we discussed a possible partnership and integration with their digital financial services API. Union Bank is the country's leading tech-enabled bank. They deployed the first Bitcoin ATM in the Philippines. Now there's Bitcoin ATMs in every 7-Eleven, a few thousand, I believe, in Philippines alone. So if they could get this partnership, that would be massive for them. They are doing some huge things and extremely low market cap crypto. No one really knows about them yet, so check out SparkPoint SRK if you haven't. So earlier today, I also announced that my clothing store, Journey.store, is also partnered with SparkPoint now. You can now get SparkPoint SRK merch on the store. Just go to Journey.store if you're interested, and you can use the coupon code SparkPoint20, all caps, to get 20% off the entire store purchase of other items as well. This is only lasting until March 5th, about a week and a half from now. So some cool SparkPoint merch, stickers, shirts, coffee mugs, and hoodies. So Revolut will make crypto available in 50 states. We covered this a couple days ago. So Revolut is coming to the smartphone near you with an array of cryptocurrencies before tax day. Having just raised $500 million on a $5.5 billion evaluation, Revolut is one of the biggest fintech in Europe. So they will be allowing everyone in the United States to purchase 4 cryptocurrencies now through their app. Dan believes that Square is its biggest competitor. Unlike Square's Cash App, which offers Bitcoin BTC only, Revolut has 4 other major cryptocurrencies on the menu. They have Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and XRP. So I do think Square has to start offering some more cryptocurrencies to stay competitive. So Jack is the CEO of Twitter as well as Square. He's a Bitcoin maximalist. He says he buys $10,000 worth of Bitcoin a week, and he's only interested in Bitcoin. He's never really tweeted about any other cryptocurrencies. I do think they should add Ethereum and at least XRP to stay competitive, though. Definitely this other company, Revolut, will start taking the majority share if they're offering more cryptocurrencies. So I do think they only offer Bitcoin just because Jack is the CEO and he's a Bitcoin maximalist. But as he sees Ethereum and XRP rising in dominance in the crypto space, I do think they will feel the need to add them eventually. Some news with Square. Square sold over $500 million worth of Bitcoin in 2019, outpacing broader crypto exchange volume growth in Q4. So Square Q4 earnings saw $178 million worth of Bitcoin sold in the quarter, up 20% from the last quarter and 240% year over year. So they're a pretty new company. I believe they started in 2018, but they are picking up pace with Bitcoin sales very quickly. While Bitcoin volumes still pale in comparison to larger US retail crypto exchanges, the surge in Bitcoin demand at Square actually grew at a larger clip than Coinbase. Coinbase had a decline of 40%. Square volumes were more in line with Binance US, which saw $250 million worth of Bitcoin volume in Q4. And here's a chart showing the volumes. So an interesting article on Tom Lee, his 5 simple reasons for a Bitcoin bull run in 2020. He's made many Bitcoin predictions. He thinks it's going to hit $30,000 this year, possibly. So FundStrat's Tom Lee was the main highlight of last week's Blockchain Economy 2020 event. He started with saying the most important generational trade over the next 20 years is going to stand around the disruption of the financial industry, and the most important of these technologies are going to be blockchain and crypto. And he later said, as we are now in a proven start of a bull market, Bitcoin is the single most performing asset of 2019. It beat the return of the S&P 500, which was the best in almost 25 years. That's very bullish news as well. The stock market in the United States had its best year in almost an entire generation, and yet Bitcoin tripled that return. On top of that, 2019 was the 4th worst year in the history of Bitcoin, he added. Lee then listed 5 reasons why Bitcoin is up for a bull market in 2020. So that alone is pretty bullish news, but on top of these other 5 reasons, it's even more bullish news, especially with all the mass adoption stuff that's happening pretty much daily right now. So his 5 reasons were the 2020 US election, the Bitcoin halving. He said the most important factor impacting Bitcoin's price is the halving. We think it's going to have a significant effect. He then said Bitcoin price is around 10K now, and if the Bitcoin halving is going to play out like the other halving periods, there's a good argument that Bitcoin makes an all-time high this year, which would have to be 25,000 or higher. And then his other reasons are US-Iran geopolitical tensions, 200-day moving average. In January, Bitcoin moved back above its 200-day moving average. When an asset trades above its 200-day moving average, Lee explained it's considered to be in a bull market trend. This is especially true for Bitcoin. And then he went on to say, I think there's even a chance that Bitcoin could end or touch the level of somewhere around $30,000 this year. So his last 2 reasons are the coronavirus spreading and Bitcoin to beat Dow Jones. So the coronavirus, he stated the risk of a pandemic such as coronavirus is increasing the demand of Bitcoin and other safe haven assets such as gold. So some pretty good reasons on top of Bitcoin already being pretty bullish for the year, being up higher than the S&P 500. So the Crypto Lark also posted about this 200-day moving average. He said Bitcoin sitting nicely above the 200-day moving average. Hammer candle could show a bullish reversal forming up. A bounce from this level would be a show of strength. So we are starting to see a slight bounce right now, 2% up. Ethereum and XRP about 5%. So we'll see if we start seeing some good recovery. The Bitcoin halving is coming up in early May. So I think the closer we get to that, the more bullish it's going to get, especially after the halving happens and half the Bitcoin are coming into circulation daily from mining. More Bitcoin news. Shark Tank's Robert Herjavec says Bitcoin's price will quintuple long term. Multimillionaire co-host of ABC's Shark Tank said Bitcoin is currently valued at only a fraction of its long-term potential. I think the price of Bitcoin on a long-term basis will quintuple, if that's a word. After speaking on gold, expressing that he is not a big believer in the precious metal on the investing side, he said he favors the future of digital payment sector, naming Bitcoin specifically. Consumers are, over the long run, always go to convenience, and Bitcoin is just convenient. That's very true, in my opinion. Much more convenient, especially for the newer generations, to buy Bitcoin and digital assets over precious metals. He confused Bitcoin with the entire crypto space, though. He said, the minute you have a JP Morgan Chase or you have a large institutional company getting behind it, then the world will change. So he's saying a major player has to get behind cryptocurrencies. I think that's a long time out, though, still, because cryptocurrencies are a major threat to the current banking system. So he's a pretty big investor, talking about Bitcoin and how it's undervalued as well. So last article on Bitcoin for the day: world's top crypto miners race to roll out top-of-line machines ahead of Bitcoin halving. Two of the largest Bitcoin mining equipment manufacturers are in a neck-and-neck race to roll out top-of-the-line machines ahead of Bitcoin's halving event in less than 3 months. So I have talked to people about Bitcoin halving, and they are concerned that many of the miners are just going to stop mining and make the network insecure, but this proves that that's not true. The two of the biggest in the space are racing to get out their new equipment for the halving. So the rewards will be cut in half, but miners can simply save the Bitcoin until the price is higher. And with less Bitcoin coming into circulation, I definitely think the price of Bitcoin will be forced higher because of this, especially with all the mass adoption happening and everything new coming into the space. Some interesting news: Binance CEO's net worth has doubled in past year at $2.6 billion. Binance CEO CZ is the wealthiest person in the crypto and blockchain space, according to the 9th edition of Huron Global Rich List. CZ's net worth has doubled in the past year at $2.6 billion. Last year, the CEO was worth $1.3 billion. So he doubled his net worth even in a bear market. Some pretty crazy stuff. So I definitely think if during the next bull run, he could become one of the richest people in the world, and definitely will be. Overall, Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos retained the top spot in the Huron Global Rich List 2020 with a net worth of $140 billion. His net worth is down $7 billion from last year, mainly due to the world's largest divorce settlement. His wife from that divorce is now worth $44 billion just because of that divorce, and has made the same list. So some pretty interesting stuff on Binance CZ. I definitely think he could become worth $100 billion in the next couple of years with a massive bull run. If the crypto space becomes worth about $3 to $5 trillion, I definitely think he will be. Readying the blockchain industry for the next wave of adoption. I'm seeing a lot of people talk about mass adoption now, especially with all the crazy news going on. This article says, whatever the reasons, it seems safe to say that the crypto winter is well and truly behind us. If this trend continues, it will only be a matter of time before we begin to see a fresh wave of adopters. Really, when we start seeing steady rise in the crypto space, current investors are more comfortable spreading the word about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. That's when we start seeing new adopters coming to the space, and when there's a rush of that is when we see a peak bull run. So I definitely think we're seeing that steady rise in 2020. Definitely I think a bull run is coming with the Bitcoin halving, ETH2 staking. XRP is finally using cross-border payments with XRP. So I definitely think all that's going to grow. Blockchain technology partners unveil smart contracts on Amazon AWS. More news towards mass adoption. That's pretty huge. One of the biggest companies in the world using blockchain. So last thing for today, Pomp was on CNN yesterday discussing Bitcoin and why Warren Buffett isn't a great person to listen to on technology, and why Bitcoin's monetary policy is superior to fiat monetary policy. This video already has 150,000 views just on Twitter. He's on these type of talk shows pretty often discussing Bitcoin and why it's superior to fiat. So more stuff towards mass adoption. Great to be seeing Bitcoin in the news as much as possible. The more we see this happening, the closer we will be to mass adoption for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching it. Please subscribe and share the video if you found it useful, and I'll see you in the next one.